Hi, today I want to talk to you about the cycle of addiction. In today's video, you will learn what steps make up the addiction cycle, how the majority of addiction is actually not in the behavior, and what makes the addict continue to act out even after severe despair and guilt. So there are four main components to the addiction cycle. Number 1, preoccupation. 2, ritualization. 3, sexual compulsivity. And 4, despair. Let's break this system down and look at the individual steps that make up the sex addiction cycle. So stage number 1 is preoccupation. And preoccupation is another word for fantasy. Fantasy, believe it or not, is actually a good thing. It's one of our mental faculties that we were given to use to do good things. You can have fantasies about your spouse, a new home, your goals. The list goes on and on. For sex addicts, however, fantasy turns into something more serious. Those who struggle with addiction, if they continue to fantasize, their fantasies turn into obsessions. And it's this obsession that sets the stage for losing control. If the individual continues to obsess, then this will lead into the next stage in the cycle, which is the ritual stage. Rituals are behaviors that addicts do that A, intensifies the obsession, and B, put further distance between the addict and reality. An example of a ritual for a sexually addicted person might be to cruise by strip clubs or start up their computer to view pornography. This is kind of like the alcoholic driving by his favorite bar after work or setting up to have his drink in the evening before he retires for the night. Now, the next phase of the cycle is the acting out phase. This is also called the sexual compulsivity stage. Usually when a therapist uses the words acting out, what they are really saying is when an addict acts out on sexual urges, their tensions are reduced. This is actually a relief for the individual, at least for a little while. The compulsivity part of this stage basically means that it is almost inevitable that a person will act out on the behavior no matter what the circumstances or the consequences are. And that is why it is so important for the individual to learn how to stop the cycle before it gets to that point. I'll share how to do this in another video called Breaking the Cycle. So the fourth and final stage of the addiction cycle is called the despair stage. This is where the individual's world comes crashing down. The excitement, the urges, the thrills, all turn into guilt, shame, and despair. Oftentimes this, including other consequences, is what brings people to therapy. Now, it turns out that if an individual does not seek therapy or help at this point, eventually the addiction cycle starts all over again, and the person uses preoccupation or fantasy to overcome the despair. Stay tuned for more videos where I will teach you the addictive system and the belief system that actually fuels the cycle that you learned today, as well as breaking the cycle of addiction. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, it's Bo here. Thanks.